A dog is a German's best friend. Okay, it's any human's best friend, but for this video we will say German's best friend. And actually there are some things I didn't know about owning a dog, which is a lot more complicated. What a surprise in Germany. In this video we will talk about the 10 top things that you should know if you want to own a dog, import a dog, buy a dog, go walking with a dog, everything with a dog. So
Cuddle
stick
your
around,
dog.
cuddle your dog, and what also like rules and regulations you need to follow. So stick around. Hey, I'm Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And I'm Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we help expats settle into life in Germany more smoothly. Before we jump into our list of 10 things I didn't know about owning a dog in Germany, let's give a little bit of a background story for life in Germany for dogs. So actually, funny enough, the dog is not the most popular pet in Germany. It is actually the
Cat.
Yeah, crazy, right? So actually, most Germans prefer a cat over a dog. But the ones that...
That is a very strong, no, I would disagree.
Statistics
There are more
show-
cats, yeah, but that doesn't mean that more Germans would prefer a cat over a dog, because not everyone can have a dog that wants to have a dog.
Ah, I
So
see your
maybe
point.
the cat is just a substitute dog.
Ah, okay. I jumped too far into conclusions. But statistics show...
There are more cats as
Owner,
pets in
yeah.
dogs than in Germany than dogs.
Yeah, okay, so that's true. Number 2 is that dogs are really a German's best friend.
Yes. There are best friends. They are seen as like a life partner, even if just for a certain amount of time. And there are actually quite a few laws that protect the well-being of a dog. I mean, animals in general, but particularly the dog, for a respectful behavior. One reason why there are actually no stray dogs in Germany.
Yeah, that is true. I've never seen a stray dog in Germany. Don't get me started about Guatemala. Let's not even get there, right? And as it comes as no surprise, you actually need to do an Anmeldung for your dog.
Of course, you have to register the dog within, I would say, between 2 to 4 weeks after like owning it, like importing it or buying it or whatever. And give all the data, because the expectation is that if there is a dog running around the streets alone without the owner anywhere in eyesight, that one can identify
Who the dog
who
belongs
the dog
to.
is and where it belongs to.
Yeah, exactly. So now let's jump to our list. Number 1, which is a bureaucratic thing, is that dogs pay taxes.
Yes.
Cats don't pay taxes, but dogs do.
So the dog tax highly depends on the type of dog that you have, and also on the area you're living in Germany, because it's not a like nationwide law or rule. It really depends on the city itself. So the dog tax can be anything between, let's say, 60 and actually 900 euro, especially like the dangerous dogs are very expensive. Yeah, I would say for the regular dog that is not like a dangerous dog, it's between like, what did I just say, 60 and 250 euro per year.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so that's thing number 1. Thing number 2 is that, as we mentioned, because dogs are Germans' best friend, there is a lot of very friendly, dog-friendly places, right? Yeah. I wouldn't say everywhere. Still, the rules apply that you can't bring a dog into a supermarket.
Yes.
However, you can have dogs in most restaurants.
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, there's a frozen yogurt place, delicious, by the way, if you live in Düsseldorf, called Yomaro. And there, whenever we dog sit for a friend, which his name is Lucas, and we absolutely love him to pieces. And when we go there, we're dog sitting Lucas, and we buy a yogurt, they always ask, do you also want a dog-friendly yogurt for your dog? Yeah. Lucas is full of allergies, so we have never tried it. But next time we asked our friend, who's the owner, and she said, yeah, you should try it. So we will see. So it's very friendly to be around with dogs. A lot of places they accept that you can just go. Sometimes you're not able to enter a place with a dog, but however, there's going to be a sign outside that says, actually a super cute sign, because it's usually a dog that says at the bottom, we need to stay outside.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how you know that you can't bring the dog inside.
Yeah, exactly. But generally speaking, Germany is very, very dog friendly. You see tons of dogs in the streets. You don't need to hide your dog or worry about, can I bring my dog to Germany or anything.
Yeah, that's true. So number 3 on my list is that there are dog parks in parks.
Yeah, that adds to it, right? I was just going to say there are dedicated areas also. If you live in a city, we'll go into more detail later, but you should have your dog on the leash, right? To also not jump on the streets. And in parks, if there are kids playing, it's also not okay to let your dog always run free if it's not a dedicated like dog park. But in parks, there's usually a dedicated dog area, which is, depending on where, it's like semi-big.
It
right?
depends. In Berlin, for example,
It's
we saw
huge.
this one
Yeah.
that is like absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
Here they are like okay sized, where you can let your dog run free. Usually there are of course other dogs, so they also have play buddies there, and that's the play zone for the dog, and that's almost in every park.
Almost in every park, yeah. So that's pretty cool. So those first three are actually like the general kind of life in Germany for a dog. So now what happens if I want to import my dog? I want to move to Germany with my dog. So number 4 in my list.
Yeah, it's actually not as difficult as you may
sorry.
think. But 2 things that you have to have, your dog has to have. It needs to be chipped. So with a microchip, if your dog is really old, I believe it's like before 2011, the tattoo also still works. But all younger dogs that have been born after 2011 need to have the microchip. And your dog needs to be fully vaccinated against rabies.
Okay.
Now there
Which
are
is
some...
like kind of normal, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are some exceptions. Like, for example, if you live in a country where rabies is quite common, you need to have further tests, like a blood test and kinds of things, which we go into detail in our written guide, which we link below. But those are like the 2 most common things. And of course, they need to be documented in a like dog passport. And these are actually not just German rules, but EU rules, right? This is for importing a dog into the EU. And you can bring up to 5 dogs with you. That those which you don't intend to sell, so non-commercial importing.
So your pets.
Yeah, as your pets,
Yeah.
exactly.
As your friends.
Exactly. And then when you enter the EU or Germany, you just need to declare your dog, pretty much, show them the paperwork, show them the dog, and that's it, pretty much.
Yeah, and then you do the Anmeldung, and then you pay your taxes, which we didn't mention. Once you pay your taxes, all dogs have a little chip, or a little like tag that they put on their collar, and that's how you know it's a paying taxing dog.
And most cities actually require for the dog to wear the tag. So once you get that tag, has like a little tax number on it, of course, you put it on the collar.
Yeah. So that is number 4. And number 5, let me check my list real here, is that, oh yes, this is an interesting one. The breeds. Not all breeds are... you can explain this better, because I always get confused if they're allowed, not allowed. I think there's so many like if else.
So pretty much what I just said with the importing, it's I would say it's rather simple. However, there are 4 breeds, and any mixed breeds with those 4 breeds that are absolutely not allowed to be imported into Germany. And those are, I would say, the 4 most dangerous dog breeds. Them. You kind of have to read them.
Sorry.
So I would just say it's anything with pit bull, anything with Staffordshire bull, but read them out, please.
That's cool. Yeah. Like the pit bull terriers is one. American Staffordshire terriers, the Staffordshire bull terriers, and the bull terriers.
So really dangerous dogs in Germany would say Kampfhund, like dogs that were bred for fighting. Exactly. So those cannot be imported into Germany. You can own them in Germany, like if you like buy them in Germany, which we go into detail a bit later. But under very strict regulations, huge bureaucratic processes, and a lot more money.
Yeah, like you said, because even the tax for these dangerous dogs are a lot higher.
The tax, but also the insurance, which is our next point.
Yeah, is that number 6?
Yes.
Yes, actually, that every dog owner should. It is not, it depends on where you live in Germany. You must, and sometimes you should, have a dog liability insurance, which is different than the Haftpflichtversicherung.
Your private liability
which is
insurance.
the private liability insurance, which, by the way, if you don't have, you should get one.
So you should have liability insurance for yourself and for your dog. And they're 2 separate products per se.
Yes. So would this story qualify as a dog liability insurance? Let's say I actually, this girl that we used to play, we used to do sports together in a team, and her dad was running. And then a dog, like a dog owner had the dog on the leash, and the leash was kind of transparent. So the guy running didn't see it.
It was a perfect tripwire.
And the dog was, let's say, like, this is the path to run. The owner of the dog was here, the leash was here, and the dog was on the other side. So the dad of our friend didn't realize that there was a leash, because he just thought, the dog is just there. And he totally tripped, fell, and broke his shoulder. And obviously, as a good German, what are you going to do? You're going to sue this person, because whatever damage is caused to you by someone else's kind of like, let's say, not paying attention or clumsiness, Germans are liable to pay, right?
Yes.
So then in this case, it would be a perfect example for the dog liability insurance to kick in.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
So
as an example.
So like Jen mentioned, and we have a beautiful map here, that there are 6 out of 16 states in Germany that require for dog owners to have such a dog liability insurance. The others, or some others, might require it for dangerous dogs. However, there are lots of liability insurances that don't cover dangerous dogs.
True.
So dangerous dogs, it's just very
always
complicated.
yeah,
yes. But if you would just want a cute little furry friend like Lucas, you know, that's no problem at all. And I mean, honestly speaking, I have never come across a dog owner that didn't have a liability insurance, even if it's not required by the state.
Yeah, because you can never, no matter how good, like how well trained a dog is, the chances of the dog doing something that you haven't trained is very high, right? Either they might eat someone's
just
credit card, for example, or they might like just, you know, accidentally just be lying outside of a store waiting for the owner, and then the owner trips, and again, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. You cannot
exactly.
control the dog 24/7.
Exactly.
Right?
So it's a no-brainer. And since we're talking about it, the favorite liability insurance from our readers on simplegermany.com is by the provider, or by the insurance provider, Getsafe. And the beauty about Getsafe is it's an all English, all digital insurance, super simple and easy and modern. And we will link below. The below link is an affiliate link. That means if you choose to purchase insurance through that link, that we get a small commission at no extra cost for you. Definitely check that out if you have a dog.
Yeah, and if you're looking into dog liability insurance,
exactly.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Additional to that, this one is a very optional choice, is another insurance that would be the health insurance for dogs, right?
Yes.
And that is an optional, there is no law requiring you to have it at all, but it pretty much depends on whether you can afford to pay medical bills for your dog out of your own pocket, yeah? Or if that would really hurt you, pretty much. And mainly there are 2 different types, generally speaking. Those that cover surgeries only, so just really
emergency
that
case
that can get quite expensive.
Right.
And then there are those that are general health insurances that also cover regular vet visits. So those are the 2 types. And obviously, the more cover you have, the higher the premium.
Yeah, of course.
For that, actually, there is Getsafe doesn't have health insurance for dogs, unfortunately, but there is a German insurance that is a very straightforward, very simple homepage, and that is called Pet Protect. Yes, I know, English name, but the page is still in German. Same thing, link below, check it out if you would like to insure your dog for health purposes.
Yes.
I mean, Lucas, for example, like you said, especially in the first year, had tons of allergies, and that, of course, had a few vet visits to follow. But that is absolutely at your discretion.
Also, make sure to like read the conditions and everything, because again, every dog is different.
Yes.
And just be sure that it covers everything that you want to
and
educate
also,
yourself on it, right?
Exactly. And the health insurance depends on the age of the dog, right? The older the dog, the more expensive. Or some insurances actually don't take older dogs anymore.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, but we have a lot of more details of what you should pay attention to and whatnot in our guide on actually dog insurance in Germany. So if you would like more details about that, make sure to check that out.
Totally.
Yeah.
So enough insurance topic.
Enough. We have to touch bureaucracy. Like, insurance is always a thing in Germany. It's so crazy. But anyway, so number 7, and this has more to actually when you want to buy a dog in Germany, is that actually, surprisingly enough, the process is not that complicated.
Well, it's not that complicated. However, it's also not really easy.
Did I put here?
It's semi-complicated.
It's a semi-complicated process.
So why? Okay, so and this is actually a very personal topic. So I have owned a dog as a teenager. Currently we are dog sitting. But because the welfare of a dog is so important in Germany, we don't treat dogs like things that you just online shop. So, and this is a big disclaimer here. There is a huge black market online for pet shopping in general.
Yeah.
And you need to be really aware and be educated, which is, you're watching this video, so thank you for that, on not to not fall into the trap of the black market and the, I would say it's like dog trafficking pretty much.
Yeah, I would say, and it's very dangerous. Like, where do you draw the line of whether the breeder could be fine, but the transportation could be not fine?
But what are we talking about? We haven't even given any
true,
info. So there's a huge black market on purchasing dogs online from abroad, especially, and I'm not being discriminating here at all. It's just unfortunately a truth from Eastern European countries, particularly Hungary sometimes. that should be a little bit of a red flag, and you need to dig deeper and check if other topics or other check marks are just as red flaggy, or if they are okay, right? So there are certain things you need to look out for when purchasing a dog.
So I would say the number one thing that you need to do in the process of getting a dog is obviously purchase a dog.
Yes.
And again, how do you draw the line whether it's a good breeder or not? Generally speaking, I would say what we have learned is that if the breeder is in Germany, that's a lot better, because you should be able to go and visit the dog to see where the dog is living, to meet the parents of the dog, make sure the dog has been raised in good conditions. We had the case of a friend, unfortunately, who she bought the dog online through a Hungarian, actually, breeder, and she got into trouble because so I would say the breeder was fine, but the transportation method the breeder used to transport the dog from Hungary to Germany was not fine. So what happened is that when her dog was supposed to be arriving at like 10 p.m., which is already like a red flag. Like, why is the dog arriving at 10 p.m.? It arrived actually at midnight. The doorbell rang. The van was waiting outside. When they opened the van, there were, I don't know how many other dogs in that van, one of them being her dog. And that van left Hungary that same day, meaning that puppy was from more than 10 hours in that van.
Over 20 hours.
Over 20 hours without walking, without peeing, without anything.
Without
right?
eating or drinking.
She went upstairs with her brand new puppy. 2 seconds later, the doorbell rings again, and she's like, what's going on? The police. So the police had actually been maybe controlling the van or whatnot. When she went downstairs, the police had already arrested the 2 drivers of the van. They asked her very detailed questions. They took the papers of the dog. They told her, this dog, we don't believe it's a legal dog, so we're going to need to check the papers. And if it's not a legal dog, you will need to pay a fine and give the dog away.
The fine could have been up to 5,000 euros.
Yeah, so
luckily
super scary
her paperwork checked out.
So in this case, the breeder was fine, but the transportation method was not fine.
Yes. So not just that it's not good for the dog, but like Jen just said, this dog trafficking that I described earlier is illegal. So how about we explain how to do it right?
Yes.
So the right way to get a dog is, like Jen just said, ideally out of Germany. And the German breeder needs to be a member of the German Dog Association, the VHD.
Of course.
Because then only it's a certified breeder. You need to be allowed to see the puppy plus its siblings and the parents and the room where they're growing up to make sure that it's a good and healthy environment. The breeder should be interested in you, your lifestyle, and your living situation.
And match the dog according to that.
Exactly, because the breeder has an interest in the dog's well-being and where it's going to live. The research before, because each breed has like a different price tag. Research before what is the average price tag, and if the price is way too low or way too high, that is already a red flag. And of course the puppy can only be released from the mom on time. So often or not, also the dogs from abroad get taken away from the moms way too early. So I believe the maximum or the earliest you can take a dog away is six weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks, which is still very early, and it's common in Germany to have it actually between 8 weeks and 12 weeks, so 3 months.
3 months, I was.
That is like the average. So those are all things you should check, and if they check out, please continue. If they don't check out, please look twice at whether this is a proper purchase.
Yeah.
Now, these were oh my God, I was very serious here because it's very personal. And we need to also emphasize that especially in last year in 2020, the increase for demand, or the demand for dogs has increased, right? Because we've all stayed home. You want someone, especially if you're living alone, to like cuddle, be there. So demands for dog is extremely high, and that means if you do it the proper way, like we just discussed through a breeder, there are waiting periods of 1 to 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
So that is something to take into consideration, that when you would like to buy a dog in Germany, it's not just, oh, tomorrow I have my dog.
No.
Now, there are 2 other methods, of course, that may fast track it and may not make it as complicated. One is to actually adopt the dog from like a pet station, from a shelter.
Yeah.
In German, it's called Tierheim oder Tierschutzverein. where they they actually adopt often or not dogs from abroad and help them to regain their strength or retrain them. It's actually they also train those dogs, and you can adopt them if you're qualified. I mean, also there they check your lifestyle, your living standards,
Your
and everything.
home,
If
yeah.
you have experience with dogs, depending on whether the character is a bit more difficult or not, and you can kind of like also have like a test drive with a dog, right? Like take them home for, I don't know, and see if you all get along. But that is a beautiful way. Also often a cheaper way, because they don't have such a high price tag. And in some states you even get a reduction of taxes. Yeah,
That's cool.
So that's a nice way to get a dog. And another one is from a private household, from friends, right? If you have friends
who actually have babies.
who have babies and
Dog babies.
dog babies. Let them know that you're interested, and you might be a lucky one.
Unfortunately for our beloved Lucas, he got castrated, so he's not having babies soon. That's super shameful. Anyway, so those are the ways that you can actually get a dog, which is, yeah, it's not so easy, I would say. So that goes to point number 8, which is actually, this came as a very big surprise when I heard for it for the very first time, is that some states actually require that you have a dog license.
A dog license.
Before you can actually get a dog. And to
That's
prove...
not true. That's not true. You can get the dog beforehand, but without having the dog license, you cannot unleash your dog. So there are 2 states, Berlin and Lower Saxony, Niedersachsen. And if you can actually self-study, with a beautiful book like this.
Like this one, yeah.
Hundeführerschein.
A friend from Hamburg, actually.
Hanover,
sorry. Oh my God, so sorry. A friend from Hanover actually showed us this book. It's like, look, I also need to have a dog license, because they adopted a greyhound from a pound. And we're like, no, what is this? And here is the material that teaches you pretty much everything you need to know about a dog, right?
So you can self-study, or there are, of course, also dog schools that help you study. And you need to have, of course, pass a test as an exam.
Of course.
And only once you are a registered dog license owner, you are allowed to unleash your dog.
Okay.
Because, again, it's a proof that you can control your dog, and you know the commands and the attitude, right?
Okay, makes sense.
Which,
way,
again,
right?
is also speaks for the safety of and the well-being of the other citizens.
Yeah.
The Mitmenschen.
The Mitmenschen, another cool word, yeah.
In other states where there is not such a thing, also there are, of course, rules on when to leash and not leash your dog, which you need to familiarize yourself when you own one.
Yeah, that is totally right. Also number 9, which doesn't come as a surprise, and I think this is a lot like everyone, but still good to mention, and I didn't really know it was a law per se, is that you need to pick up the poop.
Yeah.
From the street. So obviously when you're walking your dog, the dog sometimes is just like, oh, here's my toilet, and they do their business, and you need to pick it up. So usually all dog owners have like bags with them as well. However, I must argue that not all Germans do this, which is very annoying. Yeah, you're gonna say different, but I've had cases where I had to pick up Lucas's business, and as I'm going there, I step on someone else's poop.
Okay, I agree. I would say I agree. Not everyone does it.
Yeah.
But it also depends a lot on your neighborhood and on the city. So I would say that our area is actually quite good.
Quite clean.
Quite clean. There are only a few exceptions. Whereas, especially Berlin, where the law is actually enforced quite more than here, you see a lot more poop still.
Interesting.
Maybe it was also the neighborhood we were in Berlin. Maybe other neighborhoods are cleaner as well, right? But it is a law. And actually, I've seen dog owners basically look around, is someone watching me? If yes, I pick it up. If no,
not, I continue.
I just continue. And that's seriously, because what can happen, if you happen to have watched our video of 10 illegal or funny fines that can happen in Germany, is if you're being watched, someone can call the Ordnungsamt, and they might then, give you a fine for it.
Yeah. Here you come into trouble, man.
Yeah.
Which is, and it's not... Really, usually you can just pick it up and throw it in the trash bin that is really next door.
It's not such a big deal.
It's not so complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah. And number 10 on my list, which is also a funny one, is that it's not a funny one, but it's super interesting. A new law has been proposed.
Yes.
And is that by law, if this law passes, a dog owner in Germany needs to walk their dog at least twice a day.
For in total 1 hour.
Yeah.
Which, it's
There's
not...
a law for this,
It's not passed
crazy.
yet. No, it's not
There's
passed
a proposal
yet.
in place. Yeah, that's
but
right,
it emphasizes again the importance of the well-being and the respectful treatment of a dog. That the dog, it needs to move. It cannot be kept at home like a cat. You know?
Exactly.
So that's very important. one thing that it's not on your list, but I think it's important to mention, is that if you choose to own a dog in Germany, you need to check that with your landlord. That's in the beginning I said some people would like to own a dog, but they can't. Like, you know, our friends, they would love to own a dog, but their landlord doesn't allow it. And for them, it's kind of like, okay, but we're not really going to move just to have the dog. But they could have a cat if they really want a pet, right?
True, yeah.
So, yeah, also dog-friendly apartments or dog-friendly landlords in that sense are not all of them are. So you just need to check or talk to your landlord to get the written permission.
Definitely, you should definitely do that. We have had experience with a dog in Germany, and I've loved it. Really, to have Lucas around is so nice. It's so much fun. Not when he needs to like pee at like 3 a.m. or something. Sometimes it can happen, but generally speaking, it's so much fun. It's really easy. There's certain parts in the city that you can just let him run and be all crazy. We play frisbee with him. It's like having another little buddy in the house, no? Yeah. So if you're looking into having a dog, please do it. How do you say
the right way?
Responsibly, yes. If you already have a dog, then we hope we kind of helped you, or you probably knew all these things already. But if not, we hope at least you found one or two new things. And if you like this kind of content, like English content to help life in Germany, make sure to hit that like button and that notification bell. This really helps to spread the word about Simple Germany, so other English-speaking people in Germany can find these cool videos. And if you want to go the extra mile,
then you can help us out by buying us a coffee, donating an amount that is equivalent to the amount of a coffee to support the channel and us.
Yeah, and also, what else? I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
So, woof woof. Until next Monday. Cheers!